Welcome to the Rick and Morgan podcast presented by Lemon Sports Network. Here's what we got coming up. My only concern is for Emmanuel Sanders because Courtland Sutton is not, he may be as talented as Demaryius Thomas is, but he's not going to draw the attention that Thomas did, at least not for a while. So Emmanuel Sanders is having a fantastic year this year, but that might be a little bit stymied, if you want to use that word, in his efforts to produce the same way he was before. He can't be a number one receiver. Sanders just cannot be a number one receiver. To me, I think Mike McCarthy is just, I put it on him because, I don't think that it's the GM's fault that the Packers suck. Like, Mike McCarthy has a say in who gets on that team and who doesn't get on that team. But the fact that you can't win with one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time on your team,
they gotta do
playing at the highest level that he can play at, they gotta fire Mike McCarthy. If the Rams face the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl, the Rams are going to win the Super Bowl. That's a given.
I agree with that.
That's a given to me. Welcome on into the pod. We're going to talk about an assortment of things, mostly about the NFL trade deadline, the Aaron Rodgers situation, if there is one, Pat Mahomes, the Patriots blowing on Monday Night Football and still winning by a lot, Jameis Winston, and a lot of other awesome content. How you doing, Rick?
Did you say Patrick Mahomes? I thought you said Showtime Mahomes.
So, we're recording this on Halloween night now. Halloween night.
Kids are getting lit.
Right now, Ricky Lemon's wearing a Boston Bruins jersey, but I'm pretty sure he wishes he dressed up as Pat Mahomes this week.
If I had a Patrick Mahomes jersey, you better believe I would have been Patrick Mahomes tonight. Easy. I would have even got a little what are those things where you
type
in your phone and then it comes out as a robot voice? I would do that
Pat
and then
Mahomes.
see if my friend could do Kermit
Pat
the Frog,
Mahomes.
Change it to Kermit the Frog.
Yeah, Kermit the Frog.
And then just type stuff out and be
just in Pat Mahomes' voice.
Right, exactly.
Oh my gosh. If you had one outside of Pat Mahomes, one player that you would just dress
Christian
up
McCaffrey.
as. Yeah. I don't even have to ask the question. I want you to guess mine.
It's girly.
It has to be girly.
It's got to be girly.
It's got to be top girly.
I was gonna say Zeke.
Girls is the man.
Maybe Carson Wentz.
Oh, I have a fling with Carson Wentz.
You have something with Wentz. That's for sure.
I freaking love Carson Wentz. He's my boy. Fantasy and unfantasy. I would have been so much happier for the Eagles if it wasn't Nick Foles. I would have been like, oh, I'm all right with that.
Is that why you were pissed for 4 months?
Well, mostly because
Nick Foles.
Bill Belichick's an idiot, but we'll talk about that
someday.
We've
actually talked about that enough, honestly.
So let's start with the NFL trade deadline. I don't want to spend too much time on this. It was a busy day. Usually you're sitting there during the NBA, NHL deadlines, and sometimes the MLB one, and those ones are way more interesting than the NFL one. The NFL one's usually dead, but this year we got plenty of action. So I want to start with just getting your thoughts and takes from each perspective. We'll start with the first trade that went down. Now, there were reports, just to touch on the Patriots for a second, that Demaryius Thomas was going to get traded to the New England Patriots. They got hung up on compensation, I think it was, because they wanted the Broncos to eat half of Demaryius Thomas's contract. Mm-hmm. So they were offering the same thing that they were actually, I think, offering a third-round pick to the Broncos for Demaryius Thomas. And
oh, wow.
The Broncos turned it down because they didn't want to eat half the contract. So breaking news came down right around 2 o'clock. Demaryius Thomas was traded to the Houston Texans to fill the Will Fuller role after he tore his ACL. The Broncos get a 2019 fourth-round pick in return, and they swap seventh-round picks, which is irrelevant, but it's a part of the deal, so I have to say it. So what are your takes on that deal for the we'll start with the Broncos perspective. What do you think it's going to do for the Broncos?
Well, it could open up targets for Sutton, who's a nice young receiver.
Courtland Sutton.
I tried to pick him up.
The name, yeah. Me too. I actually had him on my team 3 weeks ago, and I dropped him.
Did you?
Yeah.
Idiot.
I was watching Monday Night Football when they were facing the Chiefs, and I was like, I'm going to pick up Courtland Sutton, and I did. Then he was like,
and then you dropped Marvin
why would
Jones
I even
too.
have this guy? He's never going to get any targets.
That was another L.
Marvin Jones, yeah. It is what it is.
Anyway, I mean, for the Broncos, is he on an expiring contract? Is Demaryius Thomas' deal expiring at the end of the year? Or does
No,
he
I
have...
think he's got like 3 or 4 years left.
So I don't know if I like this deal from Denver's point of view. Maybe it was just good to go in a new direction with Demaryius Thomas, and they got what, a 4th-round pick.
Yeah.
So I guess it's not, that's not terrible. 7th-round pick is, swapping 7th is no big deal.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
But from Houston's standpoint, I love it.
That's a fantastic. Yeah, with Will Fuller out.
Exactly. Will Fuller towards ACL. And he was out last year too, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So that's a big hole in their offense because they're very reliant on having Hopkins and someone else with him to open it up. Because when Will Fuller was down, they would just double team Hopkins and they had no other options.
Exactly.
And people were like, oh, this just means Kiki is just going to get more looks. But he's kind of a slot guy. He's not really an outside. Like Will Fuller is more of an outside receiver. Demaryius Thomas fits that role perfectly.
And
now
he's better than Will Fuller.
He probably is better than Will Fuller.
Yeah.
You look at their offense, Will Fuller, Demaryius Thomas, DeAndre Hopkins, Lamar Miller, Deshaun Watson. I mean, it's pretty solid.
Yeah, it's a solid team.
And they are arguably the best team in the AFC South now. I mean, they probably were before, but this helps a lot.
To me, this is a salary dump for the Broncos. Not that they suck or anything, but
they kind of suck.
They need a quarterback, and
Case Keenum, bro.
Casey Keenum blows.
Case Keenum or Eli Manning, though. I don't even have
Case
to think.
Keenum.
Yeah, I agree.
Sorry. I don't know why I thought about that. I was thinking old Eli. Demaryius Thomas, I think from the Broncos' perspective, it opens up Courtland Sutton. I think it's a good thing for them because I think they've held on to Demaryius Thomas for way too long. And it was time. I mean, even though they signed that big deal, they needed to get rid of this kid a while ago. So now they get rid of him, and Courtland Sutton moves into that role. Their rookie, what did he get him in the 2nd round or something like that? But Sutton comes in and takes that role on the outside now. And my only concern is for Emmanuel Sanders because Courtland Sutton is not, he may be as talented as Demaryius Thomas is, but he's not going to draw the attention that Thomas did, at least not for a while. So Emmanuel Sanders is having a fantastic year this year, but that might be a little bit stymied, if you want to use that word, in his efforts to produce the same way he was before. He can't be a number 1 receiver. Sanders just cannot be a number 1 receiver. He couldn't do it when he was with Pittsburgh. He can't do it with the Broncos.
He's a little too injury prone too.
He's injury prone and he plays inside a lot. He's similar to Adam Thielen in that sense. But for the Broncos' perspective, I think it was just a salary dump and they want to get, they're young. They probably have no hope. Get Courtland Sutton as many reps as you can and move forward without Demaryius Thomas.
4th-round pick for a receiver isn't terrible.
It's not bad. But if you're the Houston Texans, it's fantastic for you. All those people who are in the fantasy realm freaking out trying to pick up Kiki Kute just got a dose of reality. He's got Kiki Kute will get 2 targets a game for the rest of the year. Good heavens. But Demaryius Thomas, like you said, it opens up the outside for them. I think he's better than Will Fuller was. Demaryius Thomas is not really a vertical receiver. He does play more distant down the field, but he's better on across the field medium range routes. He's not a guy that goes extremely deep, but he is a yak getter. So he can rack up the yards after the catch nobody's business. So I like the deal for the Houston Texans. Do I think it moves the needle in any particular way? Well, no, because you lost Will Fuller and you're basically replacing him. So I don't think it makes them.
It moves the needle though since they've lost Will Fuller.
Yes,
so it kind of puts
it replaces Will Fuller, but it puts him in the same spot
as they were last week. Yeah.
So I'm not gonna do anything about that. But let's move on to the next trade. Golden Tate was traded. This was another guy that was discussed for the New England Patriots, which I would have actually liked. I would not. If the Patriots had gotten Demaryius Thomas, would you have been excited about that?
Not really.
Me either. I'm not a huge fan of Demaryius Thomas. Golden Tate, I would have ripped my pants off for him. So I love Golden Tate. He is a vertical threat receiver.
I would have liked Golden Tate, but from the Patriots' point of view, I thought they needed defensive help.
Yeah. And, way more.
We might get into this later, but I think they really missed out not adding someone on defense.
Yeah, big time. So Golden Tate was traded to the Philadelphia Eagles for a 2019 third-round pick. I don't know why Bill didn't call up his buddy, Matt Patricia, and say, he's a third-round pick, buddy. I think they were in love with Demaryius Thomas is what I think. But talk about the trade from the Lions and the Eagles' perspectives.
For the Eagles, I like it. He's probably not going to re-sign. I doubt he's going to re-sign. They don't really have a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably going to ask for a good amount. But for this season, you have Alshon Jeffrey, Golden Tate, Zach Ertz, Nelson Aguilar.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty good offense. And, of course, Carson Wentz leading the helm, your boy.
Love it.
So I do like the trade from that point of view. And they're really going in for it, going for the repeat. So I do like it from their point of view. And from Detroit, I like it as well, actually. Because who's the rookie of receiver? Kenny Galloway, I think it is?
Yeah.
Something like that.
I'm not sure he's a rookie, is he?
He's young.
Yeah,
I don't know if he's a rookie.
He's definitely
he is young. And they still have Marvin Jones there. So they still have,
They got a good core of receivers.
Yeah, they're still fine at receiver.
Yeah.
They get a third-round pick. He wasn't going to re-sign there. I mean, I don't know if it's like official or he said he wasn't going to re-sign, but I've seen reports by multiple different people that he was not going to re-sign there. You get a third-round pick, which in the NFL, a third-round pick is not that bad.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. And especially for an expiring contract wide receiver. That's a good deal. So I like the deal from Detroit's point of view, and believe it or not, I like the deal from Philly's point of view. I think it's a win-win.
I think it was a smart deal for the Lions, more specifically because obviously they get the third round pick, which is pretty valuable. But Golden Tate really did nothing for their offense. I mean, Marvin Jones and Golden Tate were essentially the same player. So you had two of the same player.
Yeah.
And then you had Kenny Galladay, who you want to be your number one. You know what I mean? And so I think they were trying to open up reps for Kenny Galladay, and they said, we also have Marvin Jones, who's a decent player.
Yeah.
Marvin Jones is a touchdown beast. So that's what he does. He only catches touchdowns.
Baller.
3 targets, 1 touchdown, 100 yards.
Wanted him on my fantasy team.
It's ridiculous. But anyway, so I don't think you need to keep Golden Tate if you're the Lions. I think it's a smart deal to get rid of him. And then for the Eagles, perfect, fantastic. I love every second of it. I'm really excited. Carson Wentz, baby.
Getting those, you go from like
Carson
the biggest
Wentz.
Eagles hater to like the biggest Eagles fan.
That's because Nick Foles is where he rightfully should belong, on the bench.
Are you surprised that no quarterbacks were dealt?
A little bit. I think if there's any quarterback, I'm surprised the Eagles have held on to
Nick Foles
as long as they have.
They're probably not getting too much out of him.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, what would you offer? I mean, okay, well, that's probably
what team? Whose team am I?
A team that needs a quarterback. So let's say the Giants.
3rd round pick.
Yeah, I don't know if that's enough. Like from the Eagles' point of view to deal him. With Wentz has an injury history now.
Yeah,
and he is one of the best backup quarterbacks in the league.
I am kind of surprised nobody got dealt.
I don't know. Yeah, I am too.
But I love Golden Tate to the Eagles. Go fly, Eagles, fly! On the road to victory, Carson Wentz,
fly,
at least 30 fantasy points a game. That's it. It's confirmed. Confirmed 30 fantasy points a week. Too bad he's on a bye week. That kind of blows.
Yeah, against me.
Let's talk about the next trade really quickly. Ty Montgomery gets traded from the Packers to the Ravens. He does make our list later in the show for L's. You'll find out why. He was traded for a 2020 7th round pick.
Man, what a
worthless
blockbuster.
Garbage bag running back traded to the Ravens.
Who will probably be cut.
So I think Ty Montgomery hated everything about the Packers, which is why he did what we're going to talk about later in the show.
And he got like 3 carries a game.
And he's not that good. But I think the Packers were just done with his antics. So much so that I don't think Ty Montgomery's all that bad of a running back. But, I mean, he's not awful. He's not Eli Manning of the quarterback realm. But, the Packers were just done with him. They traded him for a 7th round pick to the Ravens. What do you think this does for the Ravens? I don't see.
It literally does nothing.
Why they did this.
Absolutely nothing.
Like, what if you were going to get rid of? I mean, yes, get a 7th round pick, but why did the Ravens
over under 5 carries a game rest of the season? Over under 3 carries a game.
Over 4 carries a game.
I might
baby.
say under.
Oh. Why would you go? Oh, kick returning maybe.
Yeah.
Do the Ravens have a kick returner?
I don't know.
I don't see the worth in that trade. This one I thought was pretty interesting. I didn't see it go down until later in the day. But Dante Fowler Jr., the defensive end from the Jacksonville Jaguars, traded to the undefeated Los Angeles Rams for a 2019 3rd round pick and a 2020 5th round pick. That is a haul if you're the Jaguars. The Rams get a freaking beast defensive end.
So here's my thing with that.
What the heck?
It is a haul for the Jaguars.
Yeah.
But he's a baller, right?
Yeah.
He's a very good player.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to win that division. It's not like the Jaguars are out. Their defense right now isn't as good as it was, and you're trading one of your better defensive players.
It doesn't make sense.
Like if Jacksonville was out of the really out this year,
mm-hmm.
the trade would make a little bit more sense to me.
Right.
But they're right there still. I mean, they haven't been good this year,
mm-hmm.
but that is a weak division.
Very weak.
And they can still catch Houston. So I don't get why Jacksonville does that deal. There might be something there that I'm missing. From LA's point of view, it's a little bit like a third and a fifth for defensive alignment's a little bit much.
They're young and talented. It's almost like Sean McVay's like
their defense is legit. Like probably maybe a top when everyone's healthy, they're top 5 defense and a top 2 offense, maybe the best offense.
This trade for me for the Rams, obviously it makes a lot of sense, but if the Rams face the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl, the Rams are going to win the Super Bowl. Like that's a given.
I agree with that.
That's a given to me. And I think anyone that faces the Rams in if the Rams face the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, the Rams win. If the Rams face the Steelers in the Super Bowl, the Rams win. If the Rams face the Baltimore Ravens, that might be an interesting game, but no, the Rams win.
I don't think the Ravens scored like
they can't even score 20 points. But like they literally beat everyone. They have to completely fall apart.
I think actually the Rams. There's only 2 things I could see.
They are the favorites for me for the rest of the season.
I agree with that. There's only 2 things I could see with them.
Okay.
They choke, which I think is the more likely scenario.
Yeah, they couldn't get out of the first round.
Actually, I guess 3 scenarios: injuries, obviously.
Yeah.
Or the third one is they don't have a home field. They're against Green Bay this week. It was the crowd was 50-50. So they could play a team like New Orleans, a really good team in the NFC.
Isn't that good for them?
Not really.
They know how to win on the road.
Right, but if they have home field advantage is what I'm saying,
really
it doesn't matter. Right.
Yeah.
So
but they still don't know how to win at home.
Yeah, but it's not like it's not a home field advantage.
They're
It's
undefeated. I don't really care
it's
how
just
they
a
get
neutral
it
site for like 2 straight games to the Super Bowl.
But one of the here's the thing is that in the regular season, offense wins games, right? When you get to the postseason, I hate to use the cliche phrase defense wins championships, but it is so true. The reason why the Patriots lost in the Super Bowl last year is because their defense was awful.
And
awful.
That too.
And it was, I mean, obviously Malcolm Butler would have helped.
Why I think,
but I look at the Rams when they have a complete offense.
Mm-hmm.
They have a complete
defense. An elite defense.
Elite defense. And you're telling me that you think that the Rams aren't going to win the Super Bowl unless they royally puke all over themselves? They're going to win the Super Bowl.
Which, I mean, this core with them,
and they're going for it with this trade.
They are, but this core, like Jared Goff and Sean McVay and Todd Gurley, have not won a playoff game before.
Right.
If you remember, they lost last year to the Falcons in the first. Oh wait, did they? Yes, they lost last year in the Falcons.
I think it was the Falcons
in the wild card game.
Regardless, they lost in the wild card game.
Right. Yeah, it was the Falcons because then the Falcons lost to the Eagles. Anyway,
go on.
They don't have experience winning in the playoffs, so they could choke. That is a possibility, and they puke all over themselves.
They're just so good.
But if they know how to play in the playoffs, good luck stopping them.
Good freaking luck. Let's move on to the next trade before we move on to some other news and thoughts from the week. Safety Clinton Dix was traded from the Packers, one of the Packers' only good players on defense.
Really, honestly.
Traded from the Packers to the Redskins for a 29 4th-round pick. Clinton Dix was like, he's not great. He's not even
solid.
He's solid. He's not even that good. He's solid. He's a good safety, and he's one of the only good defensive players for the Green Bay Packers. Why would you trade Clinton Dix when your defense is absolutely awful?
There has to be some.
The Packers are so stupid on defense.
There's probably like a locker room issue. That's the thing I could see. Because if there's not,
that's so stupid.
That
doesn't make any sense. Like for a 4th-round pick, you might as well just keep him.
The Packers are like they're kind of like the Jaguars, where they're not out of it.
This is like a game. This is a hot take for me. This is a hot take for me. Why does Mike McCarthy still have his job?
Oof.
Because of Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, because of Aaron Rodgers.
When Aaron Rodgers is not on the field, Mike McCarthy is an awful head coach.
If they miss the playoffs this year, there's a decent chance he's going to get fired.
So this week, and not to get on.
But, I mean, other than Aaron, if you take away Aaron Rodgers, which is obviously huge, They don't really have a lot of talent on that team. They're not an
Not
extremely
really. No,
talented
I mean
team.
they got
Aaron Jones is like an okay running back. Devontae Adams is a good receiver, but I think he's like Aaron Rodgers makes him right.
Yeah,
Randall Cobb is like okay.
their offensive line is good.
Their offensive line is good, but it's not great. Their defense is like below average.
Yeah,
not the worst in the league, but it's not good.
I don't even want to talk about the Redskins' perspective. I don't understand why the Packers even would make this move. It doesn't make any sense. Like, unless you said there's something wrong in the locker room.
Redskins are sneaky good.
They're always sneaky good and then losing the first round.
But they're like, I mean, not really. They made a few moves in the offseason, so anyone paying attention to free agency, which does not include me, should have seen it coming that the Redskins would have a very good defensive line. With the move of Clinton Dix, that makes their secondary better.
Yeah.
They might have a top 5 defense in the league. And if Alex Smith, we've been saying this his whole career, but if he can just be decent
in the playoffs,
they're going to make the playoffs and they might win a game.
Yeah, they might.
If he can, but I mean, that's a big if.
But so I just don't understand the deal from the Pack. Obviously, the Redskins, they'll give up a 4th round pick all day to get Clinton Dix, but I just don't understand why the Packers are doing it. I do believe that Mike McCarthy should get fired at the end of the season. And I just want to make a side note before we move on to some other news around the week. Around the NFL this week, is that Aaron Rodgers, if he was on the New England Patriots,
we're going here,
would have been. Brady said this today, and I don't disagree with him. Brady said if he played for the New England Patriots for all these years I did, he would have scored like 75 touchdowns a season, which is a little exaggerative. But to me, I don't see that as all. I'm not saying he could throw 75 touchdowns, but he would be so good. Like, Aaron Rodgers would be above and beyond. Like, we talked about this before. He would have won like 8 championships. Like,
I don't know if he would have won 8, but
Rodgers is freaking insane. Tom Brady almost won 8.
Dude,
I can make scenarios.
I can't believe you're actually right. Like, that click in my head for a second. There is a legitimate chance that Brady could have won 8 Super Bowls. What in the world? Imagine a quarterback winning 8 Super Bowls in his career.
Isn't that insane? How many Super Bowls has he been to?
It's 8, right? 5 and 3. If he would have beat the Giants those 2 years.
Yeah, so I think Rodgers probably would have won 8 championships.
You think so?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, Rodgers is so good.
I mean, you know my feelings on Rodgers. We've talked about it on the show before.
Maybe I'm not going to go Super Bowls, but I do think he would be statistically better than Tom Brady is. But I'm not sure. It's unfortunate that Aaron Rodgers has had to deal with the one Super Bowl they won. They had a good defense, but it's unfortunate that he has had to deal with all of this crap with Green Bay. He's had no defense.
If Aaron Rodgers is on the Pats, do they win the Super Bowl against the Falcons in that great comeback? Because I don't know if they do.
If Aaron Rodgers is on the New England Patriots and they play the Falcons, are the Patriots even in that situation where they have to come back?
Maybe. I mean,
ifs, ands, and buts.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
if you're saying he comes back 21, no, that's Tom Brady ripping the heart and soul out of people. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, no other quarterback in the history of the NFL could do that. So we'll move on, but I do think that Rodgers, more talented than Brady, his statistics would be insane. He needs a decent team, and I think it's time to fire Mike McCarthy. Let's move on to point number 1. The only good thing about the Packers is Aaron Rodgers. This is a great transition. What is the main reason for the Packers' slow start in the first half of the season? I think they're 4-3 or 3 and.
I think they're 3-1.
3-1,
something like that.
Yeah, that's right.
For me, I just don't know if they're that good. But they've also haven't had the easiest schedule in the world either.
No.
What's
the second half of their schedule look like?
At New England, home against Miami, at Seattle, at Minnesota, dang, home against Arizona, home against Atlanta, at Chicago, at New York, Jets, and home against Detroit. I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs. They have a pretty tough schedule. But
they have to win this week, which is why I would be nervous if I'm the Patriots.
They have to win this week, and I don't think they're going to.
No, I don't think so either.
And they've played at Washington, tough game. Minnesota's a good team. They played them. They barely squeaked it out against Chicago. That was a tough game. At Detroit,
they should have won the tie.
At Detroit, you should
they
probably
won
win
last week. There's a lot.
They should have won, but that's against an undefeated team. Like, that was not an easy.
There's a lot of shoulda ones on that list, though.
Right. Do you put that on the coach?
I do. I put it on Mike McCarthy 100%.
I agree. I don't think their coach is that good.
I don't think their
We
defense is that good.
we kind of just talked about this earlier.
Think any of this. I don't think any
Rodgers
of that
is
team
great. Devontae Adams is a good receiver.
It's astounding to me that Aaron Rodgers goes down and that team. It's not astounding to me.
Jimmy Graham has been disappointing too.
What's astounding to me is the fact that Aaron Rodgers can take this crap team and make them a 9-10 win team.
Yeah,
I don't know if they'll do that this year, but you know what I mean. Like
Eli
Rodgers,
Manning on this team,
they would be like
they wouldn't win a game.
Like 2. Yeah,
they would legit
I was gonna
be.
give them 2 wins, but never mind.
No, they'd be 0-7 right now.
They're so bad. Like they're awful. And it's like when you even look at like they don't even have a good backup quarterback. Like Rodgers is literally the only good thing about the Green Bay Packers.
Isn't their backup Deshaun Kaiser?
Yeah, something like that. Blows. I think the slow start, I would put it all on Mike McCarthy. There are tiers to head coaches in the NFL. Tier 1, Bill Belichick. Tier 46, Sean McVay. Like everyone is so far off Bill that it's like.
And then tier 664.
Yeah, Mike McCarthy.
Hugh Jackson.
But yeah, Hugh Jackson. No, but seriously, I put Mike McCarthy and Marvin Lewis.
Yeah, Marvin. Yeah, Bengals coach.
Bengals head coach.
Marvin Lewis.
I was gonna say Marvin Jones, but that would have been totally wrong. Those two coaches are very similar. Why does Marvin Lewis still have his job? The Cincinnati Bengals have not won a postseason game in how long?
People talk about that. People are like, Marvin Jones has a job. He shouldn't have his job. Like,
sorry, I screwed you up.
You created that. I'm blaming that on you. Anyway,
go ahead.
But you're right though. But people talk about that. Most people in the media are like, "Oh, Marvin Lewis, he's
good. He's
right.
decent." Yeah.
No, but like he's like Stephen A. is like. I mean, Stephen A. is like the only guy that thinks he should keep his job. But most people are like, if they don't make the playoffs this year, it's about time to let him go. He's been here long enough.
Right.
But how many people talk about Mike McCarthy?
No one.
Nobody.
It's because Aaron Rodgers makes him look good.
Right.
They got to get rid of McCarthy. Here's what I think. I think that Aaron Rodgers is so good at quarterback
but I think it's
that he could run the offense with the offensive coordinator himself. You need to sign a defensive-minded head coach.
You know what would be great?
What?
They fire Mike McCarthy.
Yeah.
They call up John Harbaugh and ask if he wants to come back to the NFL.
That would be fantastic. That would actually be a great move if you're Green Bay. You know who else I'd like to see? Not a defensive-minded coach, but this would actually be kind of sick if Josh McDaniels went and coached the Green Bay Packers.
That'd be cool.
That would be actually kind of cool to see with.
I don't know if he would.
Rodgers.
Well, if it was Green Bay, actually, I think he'd leave.
Oh, if Green Bay walked up to him and offered him, that's going to be a very prestigious job. If Mike McCarthy
Aaron Rodgers is getting up there though.
But how could you have a team that is like you have the best quarterback in the league, and you can't seem to put together a good enough team to win? Like I can't. I don't. But Mike McCarthy needs to be fired.
I mean, that's kind of on the. Who is their GM?
I don't know. Does it even matter?
I mean, kind of.
So in all of their sports, GMs kind of make the decisions. Like baseball in particular, the manager doesn't. The manager sits down and talks to the GM and says, "This is what I'd like to have for a team," and they discuss things. But the GM and the president of operations or whatever make the decisions. Same thing in basketball. Same thing in hockey. Football, it's a little bit different. The head coach has a lot more say in who. Basically, the GM. Sometimes the GM has more power. On some teams, front office has a lot more. It depends on the team, right? But a lot of times, successful teams allow their head coach to have a little freedom in what they're deciding, or what kind of players they want on their team, because they're the ones coaching the team. It's their scheme, it's their offense, it's their defense, it's their play calling, all of that stuff. It's the coach's team. Whereas in a sport like baseball, you're just kind of managing the group that you were given. And that's kind of the situation in basketball. There's play calls, but there's not really play calls. You know what I mean? Hockey, same situation. You're skating around shooting a puck in a net. And I mean, the head coaching is important, but it's not really that important. You know what I mean?
It's so in hockey though, like line changes and stuff, and
yeah, but you're still dealing with what the ownership gives you. In football, like everything literally. Football is a game of chess. It is a game that you have to overthink over and over.
Baseball is too.
Baseball is, but baseball is an every night thing. So you think about it when you get to the field, or like, okay, left-handed pitcher, we're gonna put this guy because he's good against lefties. All that stuff like that. That's analytics, and they have a department for that. But in football, it's spending a whole week game planning and coming up with a concept to try to beat another team. Like, that's literally week to week. That's why Bill is so good at what he does, because he's a genius when it comes to game planning. Tell somebody on his staff to leak that Josh Gordon is not going to play the first quarter and then plays him in the first quarter.
First possession.
That's Bill. Like, just playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. But to me, I think Mike McCarthy is just, I put it on him because, I don't think that it's the GM's fault that the Packers suck. Like, Mike McCarthy has a say in who gets on that team and who doesn't get on that team. But the fact that you can't win with one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time on your team,
yeah, they got to do
playing
something
at the highest level that he can play at, like, they got to fire Mike McCarthy. Let's move on to our next point. Every time I say this name,
what's the name?
You breathe heavy.
What is it?
And then you start sweating.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Pat Mahomes.
Oh.
Pat Mahomes has had one of the best starts for a NFL quarterback in history. He is on pace to have 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns. Can he continue this pace? And if he does, are the Chiefs a lock for a Super Bowl championship?
Believe it or not.
Okay.
I'm going to say yes on the first part. Shocker, right?
Ooh.
But I do not think that makes him a lock for the championship.
You think that he's going to stay? Okay, let's just dissect the first one. You think he's going to stay on pace to get 50 touchdowns?
I don't know if he's going to stay on pace to get 50 touchdowns.
Do you think Pat Mahomes can finish with 5,000 yards and 48 touchdowns?
I was going to say 45.
That's going to take 19 to 20 touchdowns to finish the season in the last 8 weeks.
So wait, how many does he have right now?
He threw 26 in the first half.
Yeah, I'd say he gets 45.
Fair.
I think he can get around 45. 45 to like 47 touchdowns, I'd say.
I don't think he can continue. At some point, this kid is going to come down to earth. And I'm not saying this
since week 2.
I'm not saying, no, I said he was going to suck at some point. I don't think Pat Mahomes sucks anymore.
Okay.
But I do think that he's a young quarterback. And this week, Rick, for example, Tyreek Hill is probably not going to play.
Why?
He hurt his hamstring or something like that. It doesn't look like he's going to play this
full
week.
participant in practice.
Oh, good.
Wednesday,
there you go.
So.
Said he strained his groin in the Chiefs 30-20.
He'll probably be fine.
3 win. He's a full position. Yeah,
right,
he'll be fine.
I mean,
it suggests that there was a minor issue. People were worried about
how
him
many
not playing,
touchdowns do you think he'll finish with?
I think he's going to finish with 40.
So you think he's going to throw
4,500 yards and 40 to 43 touchdowns. That's about as much as I'll give him. That's why I don't think he's going to continue.
Are you including total touchdowns?
No, I'm saying.
Yeah, because you're very against.
I'm saying. Rushing is a completely different category.
Rushing touchdowns should be included.
Tom Brady next week is going to eclipse 1,000 yards rushing in his entire career. So Pat Mahomes can suck it.
Hashtag Brady's a better runner than Mahomes.
No, but I don't think he can continue this pace. I think that he can continue with something similar to what Wentz does on a weekly basis, which is roughly 2 to 3 touchdowns a game and about 250 yards. I think that's something that Pat Mahomes is going to hold up for the rest of the year. But at some point, injury-prone Tyreek Hill is going to freaking hurt himself. And once one of these weapons comes out of the offense, it's not going to look good for Pat Mahomes. And I'm not saying Pat Mahomes is going to suck. I'm just saying that all three...
No, I agree that it's going to be harder.
All 3 cogs to this offensive unit work in unison. Tyreek Hill creates opportunities for Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce creates opportunities for Tyreek Hill. Kareem Hunt creates opportunities for those two, and those two in turn create opportunities for Kareem Hunt. With the trinity of players right there,
dude, you realize
when one of them comes out, Travis Kelce now has who's they got? Defense going to worry about Sammy Watkins.
Yes,
all set.
If you're going to leave,
not by himself.
Okay, but if you're saying one of these guys gets hurt, you realize that the other 2 will still be there.
Yes, I'm saying that the other 2 will be there, but I think it's going to take a hit to... Kareem Hunt's not going to take a hit because he's a beast, but Travis Kelce is going to take a hit.
The guy on my team.
I think that when you take away... If you go back and look at all 26 passing touchdowns for Pat Mahomes, right?
Okay.
And you can do that because I know you would love every second of it.
I would.
If you go back and you look at all 26 touchdowns for Pat Mahomes this year, almost, I would say 75% of them or wide open passes to some buffoon that he has to, some great player that he has to throw to.
I wouldn't say wide open. I'd say 75% of
When
them
I
were.
say wide open, I say similar to college football open. Like when a quarterback throws it to an open receiver in college football, that's how open I'm talking. And that's what I've been seeing in games. Like when Pat Mahomes completes passes, Tyreek Hill is like somewhere in open space and everyone forgot that he was a player and he's like deep down the field. Like he has made some incredible passes. He's made some incredible touchdown throws, but
Guys are open in the
there's
offense.
also a lot of open opportunities. And that's why I'm saying if you pull Tyreek Hill away, gaps start
Right,
closing.
but my thing is, if that's what
slots
makes their
start
offense
closing.
so great, though. Is you can take Tyreek Hill away, and they'll still put up 30-plus points because I know you just dissed on Sammy Watkins, but he's a very good receiver.
No,
and you'd still have Sammy
I'll use
Watkins,
Sammy Watkins
Travis
as an
Kelce,
example.
and Kareem Hunt. And even some of their lower guys, like DeAnthony Thomas, I think that's his name, right?
Yeah.
He's pretty good. And on a lot of teams that are like bad in this league, he'd be one of their better weapons. He like barely gets playing time in Kansas City.
I think that like when you go back in week 4 and you look at that Denver game, right? Sammy Watkins went down in the first quarter. The rest of that game, Pat Mahomes, he had to create a drive to win the game to finish. Yeah, left-handed throw, shuffle pass. Without that fourth quarter, he would have finished with like 180 yards and no touchdowns. But I think the big thing for me is that in that game, losing Sammy Watkins did affect the team because the following week, Sammy Watkins didn't play against Jacksonville. And in that game, he didn't throw any passing touchdowns.
So
he still had 313
You could
yards.
look at it like that.
I'm just saying, you take away an offensive piece, and he's not going to score 4 touchdowns a game for the rest of the season. It's not going to happen.
You could look at it like they played at Denver, who has a very good defense.
They played at Jacksonville. I get it. I'm not taking anything away from those defenses, by the way.
Against Jacksonville.
But what I'm trying to say is that once you take one of those pieces away, it closes the gaps. It closes those windows that he's been throwing through.
Who says there's a chance they're not going to get injured too?
Do you think? I'm not saying that they're going to get hurt. I'm making the argument that if Tyreek Hill got hurt, would Pat Mahomes take a hit statistically?
A very small one, yeah.
I don't think it would be small.
You think he would fall off the face of the earth?
Tyreek Hill is a pretty... Okay. You know what? Tyreek Hill, I don't think he'd fall off the face of the earth. But if Travis Kelce ripped his leg in half, you
think he'd fall off the face of the earth?
That would be a huge hit for Pat Mahomes.
If they both got hurt, then maybe he'd fall off the face of the earth.
Here's my argument. Travis Kelce goes down, or Sammy Watkins, not Sammy Watkins, or Tyreek Hill goes down. This is what I'm saying. Pat Mahomes would average 250 yards a game and 2 touchdowns. That's what his statistical output right now for touchdowns is 3.5 a game and 300 yards a game. That's what he is averaging right now. He cannot keep up that pace with or without Tyreek Hill. So that's my thing. Is like I think he's going to finish the season. I mean, he doesn't have the easiest schedule in the world, Rick.
It's not a hard one, though.
Cleveland's a tough defense. LA can be a tough defense. Baltimore can be a tough defense. Okay. They got to face the Chargers again.
Not hard.
Seattle week 16 is kind of easy.
Yep.
They got a bye week in week 12, so...
They also play Oakland twice, who's one of the worst defenses in the league. Cleveland has an okay
They don't play Oakland
defense.
Twice. They already played Oakland
They
once.
play Oakland in week 17 and week 13.
Oh, that's right.
Granted, week 17, he might not play. He might play.
Play that game.
Depends. Cleveland has an improved defense, but it's still not very good. We saw what teams have been doing to them the last few weeks. Arizona's defense has a solid... I mean, they have players on that defense, but it's not nearly as good as it should be.
Yeah.
LA has we've been talking about this. LA has a good defense, but when the Rams play the Chiefs...
They're going to get Joey Bosa back by then.
You mean the Chargers? When the Rams play the Chiefs, that game is going to be a shootout. That game, bet the over in that game. I disagree. That game is going to be... You don't think that game's going to be like 30-something to 40-something?
I don't think so.
You think it's going to be a 20-something game? You think Todd Gurley is going to get shut down?
I'm not talking about Todd Gurley.
So you think the Rams are going to blow out the Chiefs?
It's going to be 42-10. Yes.
Are you serious? Do you really believe that?
I do.
Oh, I cannot wait for that game.
It's going to be a good game.
I think the Chiefs might win that game, dude.
Oh boy.
I wouldn't bet for them, but because it's in LA.
So here's my thing. Pat Mahomes cannot keep up this pace. And
the only team that he plays that I'm scared of on defense is the Ravens.
He cannot keep up this pace. It doesn't even matter who he faces, Rick. He cannot keep up this pace.
How do you know that?
Because he's a young quarterback and he's used to playing 12 games for I don't even know what friggin' school he played
Texas
for.
Tech.
Thank you. But the fact that you
He
knew
doesn't.
that off the top
I
of your
don't
head.
think he played for Texas. Oh, maybe he did.
I don't know. But anyway, so to me, it's week 8. His bye week's not till week 12, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's got a lot of season left to play. And
it was Texas Tech. I
think-
feel ashamed for knowing that.
I feel ashamed for knowing that. It's true, though. The fact that you knew that off the top of your head. I think there's going to be a stretch of games here where Pat Mahomes takes a statistical hit and slows down a little bit. As much as you don't want to believe it, every quarterback goes through that. At some point this year, Pat Mahomes is going to get tired. Somebody's going to get into a fight in the locker room, and there's going to be a little friction.
The way they're playing, man.
I'm just throwing out. They almost
Potential
lost to
things
Denver
that
twice.
might not happen.
They almost lost to Denver twice.
I mean, Denver's a divisional rival.
Yeah, whatever.
Knows them and has a
But I
pretty
do,
good
like I
pass
said,
rush.
I do believe. Like, I don't think Pat Mahomes can continue throwing 4 touchdowns.
I mean,
a
we'll
game and
see
300
because
yards.
I'm not gonna doubt him.
And
the
the
way
other
he's
thing-
been playing this year, you don't know, dude. Maybe it's just one of those things where he just comes in the league and just dominates
He has been.
the entire year.
He's been phenomenal, and he can be. I wouldn't be surprised if he does blow it up. But conventional thinking, and I hate to sound like Max Kellerman saying Tom Brady's going to fall off a cliff, but that's conventional thinking too. At the time, when Max Kellerman said Tom Brady was going to fall off a cliff, people made fun of him, and then Tom Brady dominated, and he's dominated since. But at the time, Max Kellerman's statement that Tom Brady was going to fall off a cliff in a year was not necessarily wrong, because history shows us that quarterbacks don't play good past 39 years old. For this guy, history shows us that even with starts like this and players that play really fantastic at the start of the season, they can fall off a little bit. And I'm not saying Pat Mahomes is going to suck. I'm saying that he's not going to put up 300 yards and 4 touchdowns in 8 straight games. It's not going to happen. So he's going to hit a situation against Baltimore, possibly against the Chargers, possibly even like Cleveland's a sleeper, but I don't know if they can do anything. We'll see on this Sunday. But there is 4 or 5 games there where Pat Mahomes could throw 1 touchdown and 250 yards, realistically. And so I'm curious to see if that happens. There's also a realistic possibility that that doesn't happen. He throws 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns. I mean, that could happen. He could just be on that pace and do what he does. That could happen. But I'm going to go with history, and I'm going to go with the fact that this guy played at Texas Tech and played 13 games a season, including the bowl game, and hasn't played a 17-game season and played in January.
You sound like Colin Cowherd, that last part. But I don't necessarily disagree with you, but I'm not going to bet against Patrick Mahomes the way he's been playing this year.
We got to move on to the next point. Just to quickly answer the final question, if he does do that, right, does go off, are the Chiefs a lock to win the Super Bowl?
I want to hear your thoughts on that because
The Rams are going to win the Super Bowl.
Even if Mahomes like goes off,
yeah,
and like
the
you're
Chiefs
like,
don't
oh my
have a
gosh,
defense. The Chiefs don't. I mean, when they get what's his name
I
back.
agree but not only that, as much as I love Mahomes, he's never played a playoff game before.
Never played a playoff game,
and that's important.
We'll see what happens. And if the Pats can somehow hope that the Chiefs lose a couple more games, they can win home field. We'll see what happens.
I don't think they're going to.
Number 3, really quickly, the Patriots played the Bills on Monday Night Football and played like a garbage bag football team. Did the Patriots overlook the Bills? And by that, I mean start game planning for the Packers this week as if they were on a bye? Or should we be concerned about the Patriots' offensive woes in that game?
I don't really think so. I mean, we'll see how they play this week against Green Bay. But I think it might have just been like, oh, we're playing Buffalo this week. Who cares? I mean, you know my feelings about the Bills. I don't think I have to say much more.
The Bills blow. Like, everyone was freaking out. They're like, oh my God, Cordarrelle Patterson was at running back. The Patriots are in desperate need of help.
Sonny Michel's coming back next week.
Are you freaking kidding me? They were facing the Bills, for crying out loud.
Tom Brady could have been their running back.
Let's put Tom Brady at running back. See how he does. Like, Bill was literally like, okay, Bill sat down on Monday. He sat down with Dean Flowers, who's not technically the defensive coordinator, but we'll just call him that for now. And Josh McDaniels, he sat down and said, what are we going to do for the Bills? And they said, I don't know, let's focus on the Packers. And he was like, all right. And that was the extent of the game planning against the Bills. And then Josh McDaniels was like, you know what would be cool if we put Cordarrelle Patterson at running back for the first couple plays of the game. And Bill was like, you know what, give it a try. Let's
Patriots
do it.
Were like, as long as he score a touchdown, this game will win.
Well, yeah, I know. And literally the big touchdown of the game was a friggin' pick 6. The Patriots I think they overlooked the Bills, but not in the sense that they thought the Bills were sucky and the Bills were actually good. I think the Bills' defense is underrated, by the way. I think that they are under the radar and they're actually pretty good. But Watch out. A lot of statistical categories prove what I'm saying. But
I don't think they have the worst defense, but
I honestly think that Bill Belichick and this team sat down and just completely threw the playbook in the garbage can against the Bills. So let's start focusing on the Packers. Honestly, there's no doubt in my mind that Bill spent 2 days on the Bills and then started working on the Packers. The Bills, they're so bad. They are so bad on offense. They picked up Derek Anderson thinking he was going to be something.
You know what's funny, though?
They just signed Terrell Pryor and Mitch something from the days in his Bengals. I don't even remember the frigging guy's last name. The Bills are awful on offense.
You know what's funny, though?
Awful.
Derek Anderson might be terrible.
Yep.
But I think he's he was an upgrade from Nathan Peterman.
Oh, 100%. Nathan P. I don't even know why he's still
when Josh Allen was in, they weren't
terrible.
I mean, they were still terrible, but they weren't
okay.
This terrible. They weren't worst team in the NFL type terrible.
Like the fact that the first 8 plays of the game, you didn't even see Derek Anderson come in, and they were running wildcat plays the whole time. I'm like, okay, first of all, yeah, sprinkle that into your game plan, but don't do it for the first 8 games.
I kind of feel bad for LaShawn McCoy.
He needs to leave. He needs to get out of there.
He's been a top 10 running back for the last decade almost.
Yeah, and he's stuck on the stupid Bills.
He's probably never going to win.
So, no, quickly, I'm not concerned about the Patriots offense right now. I wouldn't be considering what we saw against a good defense the week before. So, the Bills are just terrible, and I think the Patriots just were like, see you later. Let's move on to the final talking point. The Bucs finally benched Jameis Winston. Is he a bust, and should the Bucs move on?
Yeah.
Or, third question, is this just a play for the Bucs head coach to keep his job?
Ooh. I mean, it might be, but he's still a bust.
Jameis Winston blows.
If they want to believe it or not, he's a bust.
Dude, I almost wish Jameis Winston played the whole year, even though he throws picks, because he gets 30 fantasy points a game, but he sucks so bad that...
Yeah, because he runs for 50 yards.
I know.
For a rushing touchdown.
It's an interesting dynamic.
He does throw a decent amount of yards too. Because he throws
300 yards a game or something like that.
Yeah, but then he throws at least.
He throws he threw 4 picks in that game. I'm like, dude, you suck.
How do you throw 4?
They were down by almost 20 points.
And Fitzpatrick almost won them.
And Fitzpatrick almost won
Sorry,
them.
we can't. That's disrespectful to call him Fitzpatrick.
I'm so glad he's back. But I think Jameis Winston, I said this from the second they drafted him, and everyone was overhyping him.
I didn't like him out of the draft.
I didn't like him out of the draft. I think
looking back on it, that quarterback draft stunk anyway because it was Mariota versus Winston.
Yeah, that's true.
But at the time, I would rather Mariota, and I still would rather
When
Mariota.
you draft an injury-prone running quarterback, what do you expect to happen?
Nothing good.
Nothing
But no,
good.
I mean, I personally, I'm not on the same, you hate running quarterbacks. I don't hate them.
I don't enjoy them, but I like Russell Wilson.
But Winston is,
I like Russell Wilson. I don't like Cam Newton's antics, he's a jerk.
You have to be able to, I like quarterbacks that can do both.
Yeah.
Winston is not good at,
Rodgers is a freaking beast.
Winston has an okay arm.
Your job is to sit in the
but
pocket.
His accuracy is not good.
It blows.
It's not NFL caliber.
Put him at tight end. Maybe he'll be good there.
No, here's a question though.
What?
If you put Winston on the Patriots and have him behind Brady and Belichick for let's say 2 years, is he still a big bust?
Yes.
I don't
like Winston.
I think he could still be a bust. I mean, I think he'd probably still be a bust, but I think there's a chance he's got enough talent.
I think we credit Bill too much with the quarterback. I think he just ran into Tom Brady. I don't think Bill was the reason why Tom Brady is good. I think Tom Brady is the reason why Tom Brady is good.
Oh, good. I thought you were going somewhere else with that. I was like,
no,
we could get into that, but
Tom Brady.
I thought you were going to say
Tom Brady's heart and soul, and
I agree.
why
I think Tom Brady is good
because
because Tom Brady is good. But I thought you were going to say Tom Brady. You said Tom. What was the first part of that you said?
I don't think Tom Brady is good because of Bill. I think Tom Brady is good because Tom Brady is good.
Yeah, I thought the second part you were going to say I think Tom Brady is good because. Or Belichick is good because Tom Brady is good.
No, I don't.
That's where I thought you were going with that.
I just think Bill has always been a defensive-minded coach, so there's no way in my mind that Bill Belichick could have taught Tom Brady how to freaking throw the football. There's no way in heck that ever happened. So to me, if you brought Jameis Winston in, unless he has the desire to get better, he's not going to improve. So I think he's a bust. I think the Bucs should move on. I think this draft class for quarterbacks is awful. Have you heard some of the stuff surrounding these quarterbacks?
I know
they are so bad.
I know the guy that You know Vine? Remember that Vine?
Yep.
There's a Vine star. You know how they call him Vine stars?
Mm-hmm.
His brother, one of the Vine stars' brother,
Oh, really?
is supposed to be like a top 10 like a top 10 draft pick.
Yeah.
Good luck, whoever drafts
good
him.
friggin' luck. But he is a bust. We got to move on to the Patriots Minute. We're going to spend 1 minute talking about the New England Patriots because we are here in New England and we root for the Patriots. Our beloved Boston Red Sox won a World Series, so suck it, everyone. And you ready for the Patriots Minute?
Yeah.
As we approach the Packers versus Patriots game this Sunday night, give us your takeaways.
Pats are going to win by 40 points.
Whoa.
Aaron Rodgers, more like Aaron, you suck, Rodgers.
Tom Brady is going to show Rodgers why he's the GOAT.
I think it's going to be... People are going into this game, I think, are expecting a major shootout. I actually don't think it'll be a major shootout. But I think the Patriots are going to control the game.
They'll probably control the game.
I don't really see the Packers
with Sony Michel returning?
Yeah, exactly.
They're gonna
The
run the
only
ball
way
the
I
whole
see the
time.
Packers winning this football game is if Aaron Rodgers has one of those, like, he's a bad man type games, you know?
That's inevitable. One thing I think is interesting about this game is that the last time the Packers came here to play was like 5 years ago, something like that. Matt Flynn was the quarterback. This is the first time that New England Patriots fans have seen Aaron Rodgers live in action. Should be interesting.
Ooh, that would be cool.
It'll be cool. I
It's a
wish
good
I was
game to
going to
go
the game. That's like, for tickets are probably like $250 a piece. Like in the bleachers way back.
Yeah.
But yes, it's going to be a really exciting game. Let's move on to the top 3 lemons of the week. We'll start with number 3. Tom Brady looking like a 41-year-old quarterback against the Buffalo Bills. He's throwing it above the wide receivers, around the wide receivers, but not to the wide receivers. And it didn't help that Gronk blows, but Tom Brady looked old. He looked like a quarterback in decline. Of course, we know that's not true. He was focused on the Packers, but he looked pretty bad.
Yeah.
His completion percentage, I think, was below 50.
Wait, really?
Yeah, let me look it up. He was really well. They are actually driving the ball down the field, but couldn't score in the red zone. It was 64. Never mind, I lied.
Well, it's because he threw it. Wait, you know what aggravates me? Hold on. Can I just say this real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I like James White. I
Yep.
really like James White.
Oh boy,
I love James White.
get ready, people.
Can you not throw the ball to him at least 70% of the time on offense? Please?
It's true.
On every single possession,
So true.
they give him the ball at least 10 times. Like, I love James White. I don't want him to lead the league in receptions.
Yeah, no,
Please.
I'm all set with that too.
Gosh. Okay, I
Yeah.
just had to get that off my
Yeah.
chest.
Okay, number 2 L of the week. Tom Brady gets the number 3 L of the week. Come on, Tom. Get yourself together. Number 2 L of the week. That was a huge game. Packers, Rams, fantastic game. I watched all of it, and I loved
watched,
every
like,
second of
a
it.
quarter of it.
It got to the end of the game. Aaron Rodgers was doing Rodgers, holding my beer again. They got the ball back. The Rams scored too fast to take the lead. You're sitting there going, okay, a minute and 50 seconds left. The Packers have this sucker. They kick the ball off to the Green Bay Packers, and lo and behold, the ex-Green Bay Packer, Ty Montgomery, runs it out of the end zone and fumbles it, preventing the opportunity of Aaron Rodgers to get on the field and score a game-winning touchdown. Why?
Just a field goal right there, down 2.
Yep. How stupid can you be to run out of the end
It's
zone?
because, did you hear that he was like angry he wasn't getting the ball enough?
Yep.
You
Why-
freaking clown.
Why he was traded. He's such a clown. You take the number 2 L of the week. You could have had the win. Now you're gonna get. You were sent to the abyss.
Yeah, you went from
sent
like
to the abyss.
you went from like on a team that's about to beat the undefeated team. All you got to do is take a knee and let Rodgers do his thing.
Yeah.
To getting shipped out of town and probably not playing much for the Ravens and might get cut.
Good luck. The Packers got better with that trade.
Freaking.
I'm
dink.
like, I cannot believe that he ran it out. I was like, when I saw it and then he fumbled, like inherently, I was like, at first I was like, oh, he ran it out. Okay, it doesn't really matter. But when he fumbled it, I'm like, at least freaking hold on to the football if you're going to run out. It's astounding. Number 2 L of the week belongs to Ty Montgomery for fumbling the ball and preventing a game-winning drive for the Packers. You ready for the number 1 L of the week?
Yeah.
The number 1 L of the week is the NFL for its awful selection of Thursday night football games. Every year we come and watch football on Thursdays. I love having football 3 times a week. Sometimes in December, it's 4 times a week because they play on Saturday.
Oh, crap.
But somehow we always end up with terrible matchups. Last week was the Dolphins and the Texans, the barn burner.
That was
awful. Broncos, Cardinals, week 7, 45-10.
That was not a good
Absolutely
game.
awful.
At least my boy Roy.
The Giants and the Eagles played off against each other. Who put the Giants on a Thursday night football game? Somebody tell me that.
Hey, I mean, preseason, that sounds okay.
Yeah, preseason, that sounds okay. The only substantive game that I can see that they have Jets-Browns week 3. The only 2 real good games that I think we've seen are Ravens-Bengals in week 2, and I think it was Rams-Vikings week 4.
Ooh, that was a
good game. But this week we have the Raiders and the 49ers, two crap teams. Good luck on your ratings, NFL.
That's a massive
It's like the NFL is like, okay, we got to give the crappy teams some night games.
Preseason sounds okay.
Sounds like a good
Khalil
game.
Mack versus
Let's
Jimmy
do it.
Garoppolo.
Let's go. NFL, you take the L of the week. You ready for Pick'em, boss?
Yeah.
Cue the music. A game we were just talking about. Raiders at 49ers. Take your team.
I'm going to go with the Raiders.
I'm going to go with the Oakland, Los Angeles Raiders.
Oh.
Falcons at Redskins.
I'm going to go. This is actually a really good game. And it's kind of an upset for me to say the Falcons, but I'm going to go with the Falcons.
I'm going to go with the Falcons too. Lions at Vikings.
Vikings.
Steelers at Ravens.
This is a great AFC North battle. I'm going to go with the Ravens.
I'm going to go with the Steelers. Chiefs at Browns.
I actually hesitated there. Wow, I'm surprised. I'm going to go Chiefs.
I'm going to go Chiefs. Jets at Cowboys. Dolphins.
I'm going to actually go with the Jets.
The Jets sweep. I'm going to go with the Jets.
Oh, wow, really?
Bears at Bills.
We're probably both going to be wrong about that. I'm going to go with the Bears. You think I was going to say Bills? What are you, an idiot?
I'm going to say the Bears too. Buccaneers at Panthers.
Panthers.
Chargers at Seahawks.
Chargers.
Texans at Broncos.
I'm actually going to go Broncos
I'm
here
going
with
to
an
go
upset.
Houston Texans. Rams at Saints.
This is a great game. And guess what? The streak
Drew
is over.
Brees is going to win this one.
Oh, are you serious? We're both
Saints.
going Saints?
We're going to go Saints.
I'm going Saints.
We got some Saints fans in the house on Sunday night. Sunday afternoon.
I've said this before on this podcast. I have the Saints going to the Super Bowl
And the freaking
preseason.
The freaking game of the week. Packers at Patriots.
What's a better game though? Rams and Saints or Patriots Packers?
Patriots Packers. This is my Super Bowl. That's the game I've been waiting for years.
Rams versus Saints.
Yeah, probably Rams versus Saints.
I got the Patriots.
I'm gonna take the Packers.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Seriously?
I'll take the Packers.
Wow. Okay. I do not think the
Last week.
I'd actually be surprised if the Packers won.
Okay. They're desperate. They're desperate. They need the win. And then Monday Night Football, Titans at Cowboys. I just want to preface this
pick
before.
the Cowboys every single.
I want to preface it. Last week, I didn't get to pick my vaunted Cowboys. This week, I get to finally pick them after 2 weeks of being able to not pick them. I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys against the Tennessee Titans. What do you got?
You're 3-4, by the way, when you pick the Cowboys, because that's their record on the season.
I'm okay with that.
I'm going to go with the Cowboys.
Okay, good.
But I think it's going to be close. This is the first game You know what? Screw that. I'm going with the Titans. I'm not picking the Cowboys.
We almost had you. Dallas will win this game. I have a little bit of a side note. Next week, because after this week, we're past week 8 full games. Ricky is going to give us our scores.
Probably.
For the midseason.
I'd
say
you want to take
my
a
feeling
guess
is that the Cowboys destroyed me.
I think you've done better than me this year, but that alone might kill you.
What, Dallas Cowboys?
Yeah, because you're 3-4, and that might make the difference.
Love you, Dallas. To end the show, as always.
I hate the Cowboys.
Yeah. No. Dude, Dak, Amari, Zeke.
How can you just say Dak and be serious? Dak. We have Dak.
Dak Prescott.
Who do you have?
So let's talk about as always, to end our show, we're gonna give you our fantasy plays of the week. Mine this week is Adam Thielen. He's been a beast this year, and he's going up against the Detroit Lions defense, which hasn't been that scary vaunted. I believe Adam Thielen will have a beast mode week, and if you have him on your team, if you're not starting him, you're a loser.
So as you know, I like to pick guys on my fantasy team. I'm gonna go with Christian McCaffrey against the Tampa
my
Bay Buccaneers.
gosh.
I think this is his game.
What with his 5 carries?
I don't care if he gets 5 carries, bro. He's gonna get like 100 receiving yards and a touchdown at least.
He can take
this week,
flying lead,
and maybe he might even get a rushing touchdown again. Who knows? Crazier things have happened before. And for a guy that's not on my team, I'd probably say Aaron Rodgers against Pats.
Ooh, that's not a bad take. You have any closing thoughts for the show?
Look, I think my fantasy team is going to sweep you on the season, going 2-0.
Heck no.
Improving my record to 8-1, by the way, which leads the league.
Oh wow, that's a hot
I had to
one.
get that out there.
That's a hot take. I got some
A hot take.
I have
Beating you.
I have some trades
And by the way, I've
down
told
the
you.
pipeline.
I do not think I'm going to win this week because I have my boy Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, I don't think I'm
going to
win either. So we're both gonna be humble.
Yeah, like that would ever happen.
You know what's gonna happen this week?
What?
Aaron Rodgers is gonna find himself on his back because of Kyle Van Noy. Yes, I'm
Okay.
okay. Kyle Van Noy takes back.
First, you pick the Packers, and then you say Kyle Van Noy is going to sack Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
let's end
go.
the show.
Let's go. Have a good week, Rick.
Kyle Van Noy.
Love you, Van Noy. If you listen to our podcast, please subscribe on iTunes if you have not yet. We also are on YouTube, Rick and Morgan Podcast. Just search us. You can also find us on Twitter at Rick Morgan Pod, at Rick Morgan Pod, as well as Morgan_LS, Morgan Colby _LS, and Ricky Lemon _LS. Please follow us, subscribe to us. Have a great week.